Okay, so this is the part where what we do is we put the threaded rod on the y-axis. So we went ahead in the last video, we put the tubing on the end. Now for this one, listen, it's very important on this one that you have only enough tubing to go into the motor, and that the tubing and the threading are, that the motor slides through the tubing and that the motor end actually touches the rod on this. You need that because otherwise you're going to have way too much wobbling and vibration. So what I've done is I've replaced the washer with this thick piece of plastic. It has a little more mass and it acts as like a flywheel, so when you're going in a direction you have any binding, this kind of helps you get through it. So if you have a good threaded rod, you shouldn't have any binding. But if you have dust or anything like that, you might. The other thing I want to say too is you want to make sure that I've got the lock washer on. You want to make sure you at least have a lock washer on one side. And you also want to make sure that you WD-40 this rod and leave it soaking in WD-40. Put it on top of a paper towel or whatever and really douse it down and let it soak for about 3 or 4 minutes. And then just kind of easily wipe it off. You want the oils to be okay. So have this on there. I get a washer. And you want the washer because the washer causes the flywheel, I call it flywheel, to spin, and it makes it so that it spins with the rod. So if the rod stops, the idea is this part will want to keep spinning and will stop this from binding. And for those curious, this does like the 5G code software. It will work with the normal software, but it will work really great with EMC2 also. But you really want to use acceleration control because anything that goes fast uses acceleration control, at least that I'm aware of. Okay, so we have that threaded, and what we want to do is, I'm going to go ahead and turn this around so you can kind of see. We want to pull the stage forward, and then we want to kind of slide this in to the middle hole that's in the front, and then we want to push this in. And like I said, you want it to be pushed in to where the motor and the rod are almost touching. I'm going to adjust this motor a little bit. One of the things I didn't do last time, but now you can do, is you can tighten this down a little bit more once you kind of see that it's going to go in straight. Okay, then I go ahead and take this. Go ahead and take this bolt. Turn this back around again. I take this bolt right here, and I screw it on. Pull the stage. So here's what we have. Try to get that close for you. You have the Y stage. You have an area where this goes in. Now this is very important. You're going to take 2 of these bolts and see if there's a way I can turn this sideways. You're going to put one through that hole and one through this hole. And what keeps this bolt from spinning around freely is you have two bolts in here that are the same height that go in, and once they're down most of the way, you tighten them from the back, because then they'll lock. So I kind of push that in there, and then I kind of, okay, there we go. Now, none of these need to be really that tight. If you have anything really tight in here, it might bind. Because what I'm trying to do is allow this to have play this way and this way, but not in this direction. Alright, and then we go ahead and we take this and we put it in like this. Oop. And we grab two more washers and put them like that, and then two more out. Nuts. And again, we don't want it to be overly tight, so just tighten it down enough to where it won't come loose. So yeah, you want it a little bit tight, but you don't want it really tight. You want enough so that it's on there good. It shouldn't loosen up, but there's no play. All you have is the spring from the table and how it's mounted, but there's absolutely no play. And then what we go through, we're going to go into the back and we're going to adjust the motor height. So go ahead and turn that around. And we haven't done anything with that. So let's go ahead and loosen this. And what we're going to do is we're going to fiddle with this a little bit and get that motor on straight. One of the things that I use to help me is I take a plastic part or something else and put it underneath, and that will allow this to be more straight. And then when this is more straight, I go ahead and I bolt it down really, really, really tight on the bottom. I'll show you what I'm doing real quick. So I'm tightening, there we go. I'm tightening these down, and I'm trying to get that motor in there straight. And once that motor's in straight, then I go ahead and I tighten these down. And you want to tighten these all together. You never want to tighten just one down at a time. Anyway, then after that's done, you can tighten that just enough to where the motor has no play. And you can see that the stage is going back and forth. And I'll show you more later.